Anytime that you need to add a new employee, modify an employee's settings, or remove an existing employee, this can be done from the Manage Employees section of SHIFTR. You can get there by clicking Employees at the top of the screen. If you've decided to call your users something other than employee, that label will show up here instead of employees. If you're on a small screen device, you'll need to first expand the navigation menu. And now we're looking at the Manage Employees section. To add a new employee, click on the blue New button in the upper right. First, provide the personal information for the new employee. The only required information that you need to provide here is name. However, if you want the user to be able to log into SHIFTR, you'll need to supply the employee's email address. When you put in their email address, you'll get to choose whether you want to send an invitation email to the employee immediately upon saving or waiting until later. We're going to invite the employee right away, so I'll leave the checkbox unchecked. If the employee wants to receive SMS notifications on their account, they'll need to supply their mobile number and select their carrier. Everything in the personal section, your employees will be able to edit on their own when they log into SHIFTR. There are several different sections of information for the new employee that you'll see in this list. Once again, if you're on a small screen device, you'll need to first click the menu button to expand the list. Now we'll work through the sections of information. We've already been looking at the personal section, so we'll move on to additional info. This is an optional section that you may not see. This will only be available if you've enabled additional custom user information fields in your company settings. Here you can provide any information that you've chosen to collect. In this example, we can see that we've created a new field called Permit Number. Click the banner at the top of the video to learn more about custom user information. This is another section that all employees will be able to edit on their own when they log into SHIFTR. If the employee has an email address specified, the next section you'll see is Password. With existing employees, you'll be able to create a password reset request for them here. With new employees, we're simply told that the new employee will set up their own password. If you're looking at your own account, you'll have the ability to reset your password immediately by clicking the Reset My Password button. You'll be asked to provide and confirm your new password. Next, we'll move on to Time Clock PIN. Here you'll supply the numeric PIN for this employee for use in SHIFTR's Time Clock kiosk. The PIN is 4 digits by default, but that can be changed in your company settings. All employees can manage their own time clock PIN, but they will be prevented from using the same PIN as another employee. The next tab is Pay. Here we can define how the employee is paid. You can choose from hourly, salary, or unpaid. If you select hourly or salary, you'll be able to supply how much they're paid per hour or year. You can also choose if the employee is full-time, part-time, or not applicable. You can also supply a minimum and maximum number of hours this employee is expected to work each week. These numbers are used while building the schedule to help alert you who needs more hours or who has hit their target number of hours. These numbers also operate independently of overtime hours. You can also provide a payroll ID. If you plan on exporting hours out of SHIFTR and into a payroll program, this payroll ID value will be the unique identifier for the employee in your payroll program. Regular employees can see their pay information in SHIFTR, but they cannot edit it. The next tab we'll look at is Availability. Availability can only be modified once the new employee has been saved. By default, employees are available all day, every day of the week. If you need to modify the availability of an existing employee, you'll visit this section and click the Submit New Availability button. Click the banner at the top of the video to learn more about submitting new availability. Availability can be modified by both admins and the employees themselves. If you've supplied an email address to the user, the next section is User Level. Here, you can specify whether or not the employee has the capability of logging into SHIFTR and whether the employee is an admin or a user level employee. Admin users will have all the same capabilities that you do as the account owner. No SHIFTR user, including yourself, has the capability of modifying their own user level. The next section is Avatar. All users can select from the list of supplied avatar images, or they can upload one of their own by clicking Upload Avatar Photo. The next section is Notifications. Here, you can control how the employee receives notifications and what notifications they receive. Start by clicking the How to Notify Me to see available options. There's Send Me In-App Notifications. This option will be available for a user once they've logged into SHIFTR from the iOS or Android app. Next, there's Send Me Notifications via email and Send Me Notifications via text message. These two options are only available if the necessary email address and mobile phone information have been supplied. Once you've got at least one delivery method selected, you'll be able to go through each of the sections to turn off or on the notifications that you want. There will be a variety of different notification options available dependent on several company settings and whether you're looking at an administrative user or a regular level user. The next section is Roles. Here you can see all of the roles that are set up in your SHIFTR account, and you can assign them to the employee by checking or unchecking the checkbox next to each role name. If the role is set up to have special role pay, you'll be able to specify an alternate hourly rate for the employee when working the role. If you use multiple locations or departments in your SHIFTR account, those sections will be next, and you can assign the employee to your locations and departments in the same way that we did with the roles. Only administrators are allowed to change the role, location, and department that employees are assigned to. Next, we have the Comments section. This is quite simply a spot for you to add comments for the employee for whatever reason you might need to. Once comments are made on an employee, they're permanent, and you can see the history of comments for the employee beneath the text box here. The last section is Calendar Sync. If the employee wants to be able to import their SHIFTR schedule into their own personal calendar, they simply need to select their calendar service, and a URL will be provided along with instructions on how to import their calendar. Anytime that you need to edit an existing user, locate them in the left column. If you're on a small screen device, since things are collapsed for space, you'll need to click on the employees icon to expand the list first. If you've got any inactive employees, they'll be hidden from this list unless you click the Include Inactive checkbox. This will refresh the list, including the inactive employees. They're easy to identify in the list. The inactive employees will all have this red icon on them. You can also use the search if you've got a lot of employees to scroll through and are looking for someone in particular. To edit an employee, simply click on them. You might see some other icons on your list of employees as well. The most common is the green check mark. This indicates the employee has accepted the invitation and has successfully logged into their SHIFTR account. You might also see a light blue arrow icon. This means that the employee has been invited but has not accepted the invitation yet. You might also see a yellow ellipsis icon. This means that the employee's invitation has been postponed. You may also see a key icon. This indicates that the employee is an administrator. If you've got an employee that you need to remove from SHIFTR, this can be done in a couple different layers. First, you can simply deactivate the employee. This can be done by finding the employee, clicking on them, and in the Personal section, unchecking Active Employee, and then saving. This will immediately deactivate the user without removing them. You'll no longer be able to schedule for this employee. The employee will no longer be able to log in either. The employee will still remain in any old published schedules or time clock history to maintain historical accuracy. The next layer of removal for an employee is to be deleted entirely from your SHIFTR account. In order to delete an employee, they must first be deactivated. Once you've done that, you'll see a trash can icon on the employee's profile. Click on this to permanently delete them. Now, this is a permanent action that cannot be undone. Click Delete Person to verify the delete. If your situation is better suited to your employees creating their own user accounts, this can be done through invitations. Click on the banner to learn more about inviting your employees. Also, if you've got a spreadsheet of your employees and don't want to enter them manually one at a time, there's also an option to import them via the Import button. Click on the banner to learn more about importing a database of your employees into SHIFTR.